hedge against what he calls the, quote, current lack of courage in Washington. In fact, he's saying short politicians. Paul Dietrich is the CEO and co-chief investment officer at Foxhall Capital Management, about $900 million in assets under management, with us today in a Fox Business exclusive. You and I were just talking, and I said, I mean, really, how closely do you watch Washington? And you said very closely.
It affects so much. I mean, let's face it, if tomorrow the politicians got their acts together and actually started to cut the deficit and deal with the big three issues, that this is how investors will know whether anything's going to change in Washington. We have to come to grips with Medicare, Social Security, and defense spending. And when they're talking about anything else, it's just on the margins. It has no effect. But so long as they don't get their act together, we do have to short Washington. And one of the ways to do that is that we're going to have a continuing drop in the dollar because they're going to print more money to pay for all of these deficits.
Today it's up, though.
It's up against the euro largely because of the euro crisis. But once the central banks in Europe deal with it, however they do deal with it, then the dollar is going to go down. Gold is also up today. And it means that a lot of sophisticated investors believe that that's the way to hedge against this European crisis. And that's going to continue.
Aren't there always ways, though, Paul, to make money? Stocks that you can buy no matter what the climate is in Washington that people really want to utilize, and therefore the product will be bought and people will do well with holding these stocks.
Well, I think so. And I think commodities are one area. I mean, I know we've had a little correction, but they've done exceedingly well over the last few months.
Very well.
But they got a little bit ahead of their fundamentals. And so we're having a normal, healthy correction that I think will probably continue through most of the summer.
You talk about outperformance and three themes that will get you started on outperforming the headwinds that are the markets at the moment. What are those three themes?
I see them as one, the dollar is going to continue to go down in the long run. Because of Asian and emerging markets infrastructure spending, I believe commodities are going to continue to go up, and that's a way to hedge against inflation is with commodities. So I believe we're part of a 10 to 15-year long-term bull market in commodities, and that's something that we have 15 to 20% at Foxhall Capital in most of our clients' portfolios of commodities and commodity producers. The second area is the growth of Asian and emerging markets, but I actually believe it's going to be those companies that are focused on the consumer sector and services in Asia. You know, I hear
okay, but let me jump in. You just heard Ben Willis talking about how it appears that there is at least a simmering down of what's going on in Asia, particularly China, which has been so unbelievably hot. We were all waiting for that to calm down, too. India just raised its rates recently. So you've got now China and India, the Chindia of the BRIC nations, where people are saying, oh, wait a minute, maybe it's not the big, exciting area that we thought it would be.
For long-term global investors, the news today is the best news we can have. It means that government policies in Asia are actually working. We know that the growth that they have in China and the rest of the world is unsustainable, and what they're doing by raising these rates is they're getting them down to sustainable levels. So for those of us who are, you know, long-term global investors, this is the best news that we could have.
Paul actually now says take what he has told you and invest in the coming up stocks that he will mention. He's got a whole list of them, and some of them you've heard of, some of them you haven't, maybe. So stay tuned for that. Closing bell ringing in 41 minutes. The latest Jack Sparrow movie opened this weekend, raking in a record at the box office globally, $346 million worldwide, besting everything from Harry Potter to Avatar. But guess what? Less than half of that booty came from the locations playing the picture in 3D. Are audiences shying away from the pricey special features like 3D and IMAX? Well, let's find out from the CEO of IMAX, Rich Gelfond. His stock skyrocketing more than 103% over the past year. He's building up his theaters all over the world. He's up next in a Fox Business exclusive, only here.
Now's the time to move from where you are to where you want to go. Look up with U.S. Bank. Let's get the wheels turning. Use our strength and stability to open new opportunities. I can see clearly to lend and lift every business, every dream to new heights of prosperity. Good things are happening. Just look up with U.S. Bank.
Smart investors make fortunes in a depressed economy. They know the one and only investment that profits and protects their money. It's simple. Buy gold. Buy gold. Buy gold. DiscountGoldBrokers.com offers the finest gold at discount prices. Call now at 888-200-9001. Why wait? 888-200-9001. Now is the time to call. 888-200-9001.
Experience a new level of global networking for life on a whole new scale.
Excellence in flight. Korean Air.
When fire or water damage strikes, call the cleanup team. That's faster to any size disaster at 1-800-SERVPRO, like it never even happened.
When it comes to picking the right car insurance, we at 21st Century think it's important to do some serious shopping. It could save you hundreds. For example, these two cars are identical. One is insured by these guys, the other by 21st Century. Both cars have the same coverage, same deductibles, and they provide the same peace of mind. Let's say, you're at the supermarket. Boy, those pesky shopping carts. Same coverage means the same repairs. But the savvy shopper knows that drivers who switch from Geico to 21st save an average of $492 a year. And drivers who switch from Progressive to 21st save even more. No coupons necessary. Call 800-511-0971 for your free quote. That's 800-511-0971. Or visit 21st.com. 21st Century Insurance. The same great coverage for less.
These days, even your trash can be a goldmine for identity thieves. We don't believe your garbage should be used against you. We're LifeLock. Go to lifelock.com and join the fight against one of the fastest growing crimes in America. LifeLock, relentlessly protecting your identity. Call 1-800-LifeLock today.
Welcome to a world filled with liquid assets, where mergers happen daily and bonds are highly valued. Here, your options are unlimited, your rewards assured, and specialists are always on call. From successful rallies to promising futures, get down to the business of pleasure at Sandals. Book now, save up to 65%. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
Out-of-control unions, over-the-top handouts, soaring debt. Our country is on the brink of complete financial collapse. Now, we expose the culture of moochers and looters draining America dry. Plus, how a nation founded on hard work and selflessness can save itself. Fox Business presents Entitlement Nation, Makers versus Takers. And tonight, strangling our nation's financial well-being, how some welfare could be doing more harm than good. Jim Jordan on his crusade for reform, right here on Entitlement Nation Week on Fox Business.
Shares of IMAX, ticker symbol IMAX, just hit an all-time high about 10 days ago. The stock is up more than 103% over the past year. And you know what that means? If you bought shares of this company last summer, you would have made some serious cash. But do big blockbusters like Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, which debuted this weekend at #1 in the box office battle, do they equal big money for IMAX? What is the long tail here? Joining us now in this Fox Business exclusive, Rich Gelfond, the CEO of IMAX. First off, I went, I saw it. How'd you do at the IMAX?
It was a really good weekend. As a matter of fact, it was a record global box office for us. We did about $16.5 million around the world, which beat our old record by about $1 million.
What movie was your old record?
Harry Potter, the last one.
Yeah.
But what was really interesting about it was half of the business came from international and half came from domestic, even though we had much more screens domestically than we had internationally. And that's never happened before. And that's kind of the buzz all over is, why did this film do so well internationally and really, lead the boat that way?
Okay, so let's just make this clear because this is news. You did better internationally than domestically, even though there were way more screens there. To what do you attribute that? I mean, this is the fourth in an installment. It's not like a shocking movie that nobody's, ever heard of the plot.
A few things. I think, first of all, Johnny Depp is huge internationally. Places like Japan, France, they love Johnny Depp. Penelope Cruz, I think, helped Spain. The Russian box office in general was sick good. It was really phenomenal. So I think you have this infrastructure building internationally. You have the right movie in the right place. And I think 3D is really big internationally, too. And I think that helped the film.
Okay, that dovetails to my next question. Nikki Fink of Deadline Hollywood. I mean, that's a website that I personally, coming from LA, read because she has all the dirt on everything going on in Hollywood. She said, yes, she said internationally it was huge, but that domestically she called it yo-ho-hum, mostly because she had a Disney executive telling her that 3D has turned soft in U.S. and Canada. Has it, Rich?
Well, before I answer that, Liz, it's hard to call $90 million yo-ho-hum.
Okay.
It's still a pretty good box office weekend, pretty satisfying. At IMAX, we don't think it's about the dimension. We think it's about the story. So I don't think 3D changes a story better or worse one way or the other. The question is it the right story in 3D or not? And I think when we look at movies, so we're doing Super 8 next, which is a 2D film directed by J.J. Abrams and produced by Steven Spielberg. We just did another 2D film. I'm spacing out at the moment. But when Harry Potter was in 2D,
that's what I saw
Harry Potter
at IMAX
was 2D.
in 2D.
So I think it's too early to make a trend. One thing about the Hollywood watchers, after one weekend, it's always a trend. I don't want to draw a trend out of it, but it is that way.
We do that with stocks too.
I don't want to make a trend out of it, but I do want to say that I've always believed that 3D doesn't change movies from good to bad. And all things being equal, 2D or 3D, I'd rather show a 2D movie because I think on the scale of the IMAX screen, it's really super differentiated.
Okay, we've got a bunch of them coming out. So Mission Impossible is one that's coming out, Adventures of
Shot
Tintin.
partly with IMAX cameras, by the way.
Right. Now, the IMAX cameras, will that punch up Mission Impossible? Are you expecting that to be even bigger because of that imprimatur?
On a relative basis, I do. I met with Brad Bird, who's the director. J.J. Abrams is the producer. They're blown away by what they've seen. And during The Dark Knight, which Chris Nolan shot with IMAX cameras, it really did boost the IMAX end of it.
You you got Jim Cameron coming out with his own cameras, or is that in conjunction some way with you?
Well, he used them for Avatar, his own cameras. But what people don't realize about IMAX is the directors are at our offices working. So 2 weeks before Avatar came out, Jim was tinkering with the movie for the IMAX version. We show a different version of the movie than the regular one. So even though it was Jim's cameras, he still did some special things for IMAX.
Avatar Part 2. We know it's in the works, obviously. Rupert Murdoch told us that here on Fox Business. But do you plan ahead for something like that? Because as it comes to scheduling these things, for example, I know that you've got Transformers coming out July 1st, but just 1 week earlier, Cars 2, June 24th. Are you worried that you'll leave money on the table with Transformers if some of those screens are stuck with Cars 2?
That's a little bit of a unique situation because what happened was Michael Bay was originally going to release that in 2012 and moved it back to 2011, so it got a little bit crowded. But Avatar, which you talked about, that's Christmas 2013, then the next one 2014. We've already been speaking to Jim about it. We spoke to some of the Fox people about it. So when you have a movie that big, you clear away the runway. Harry Potter, we have like a 6 or 7 week play date. It's unfortunate when they crowd up.
So as we finish up here, Rich, you guys for sale? You remember that rumor Sony, Disney's going to buy you?
Well, thank God they didn't buy us because our stock is higher now than the rumored price just 4 months ago. No, it's not for sale, Liz.
IMAX not for sale, says Rich Gelfond. Thank you very much for joining us exclusively here on Fox Business, and congratulations on a great weekend.
Well, thank you, and got to go see the next one.
I know. Build an IMAX theater in Edgewater, New Jersey, and I'll be really happy. Thanks. Here's your Fox Business market check. Yeah, we're down 120 points, but that's off the lows of down more than 170 points at the moment. We have the NASDAQ lower by 38, the Russell down 11. And another big story involving insider investigation rumors swirling around one of the world's biggest hedge funds, SAC Capital. But is the firm's founder, Steve Cohen, just a pawn between Republican Senator Grassley's office and regulators? Charlie Gasparino has the latest. It's amazing to me the Republicans are now dumping on Steve Cohen.
I know. Listen, when you're an old man like me, Liz, you've covered this for a long time. And I can tell you that no friend, that Senator Grassley, Grassley's office, he's head of the Judiciary Committee, he's no friend of the SEC and the Justice Department. What people are telling us in you know, these are regulatory sources. The best way I can describe them is that Charles Grassley's office is at war still with the SEC and the Justice Department, still doesn't think they do enough on insider trading. And that's one of the reasons why you see so many of these stories involving Steve Cohen in the press lately. These are concerted leaks from these are what people close to the SEC, close to other investigative offices are telling us, concerted leaks from Grassley's office to turn up the heat on DOJ. One of the interesting things, and the SEC, to continue with their insider trading programs. Now, one of the interesting things about these stories is just how thin some of them are. I mean, if you read about it, these are trades. Look today's story. They're talking about 20 trades that have been referred from the self-regulators to Grassley's office. That's what Grassley's investigating. These are 20 trades spanning 10 years. Some of them have been looked at by the SEC and the DOJ in the past, and nothing came about. So this is clearly a sort of concerted effort to turn the spotlight on the regulators, and it looks like, as of right now, listen, well, I know they'll find something. I mean, who knows? They're going back 10 years, 20 trades over 10 years. By the way, Steve Cohen has done probably 20 million trades over the past 10 years. I mean, if you think about it, SAC Capital is like 3% of the daily volume.
Huge.
It's huge.
Huge.
This is a minuscule part of what they do. Although, remember, Rajaratnam got nailed on a minuscule part of what he did. That's why you can't say, you know, I mean, who knows what's going on here. But clearly, this is an effort by Grassley's office to turn up the heat on DOJ and the SEC to continue with the investigation, press it hard, and obviously press it against one of the biggest fishes out there. And we should point out, like I said, if you read the stories, pretty thin on what exactly was done wrong, other than, you know, SAC Capital, you know, trading.
Well, I did read the stories, and I kept saying 20 what? What was it? Tell me. And can you somehow trace it to him? And nobody did.
That's the issue here. That's why they look like leaks. And they look like leaks in this battle. The bigger story really is Grassley's office, or a big story. I shouldn't say bigger. I mean, who knows what they're going to come up with. Big story. You have the guy that's running the Judiciary Committee who's at odds with the two big regulators on white-collar crimes. And it's been going on now, I would say, for, you know, going on 10 years.
What'd you do this weekend? Did you see Pirates? You saw Rich Gelfond here just a minute ago.
Yeah, no.
Pirates of the Caribbean?
No, I'm not a big movie guy.
But I just so see you as that pirate.
You know what I saw? You know what I saw this weekend?
What?
I watched for the 10th time.
But there you are.
No. Oh, God. I saw my favorite. You know what?
Charlie.
I watched my favorite.
Charlie. Oh, wait, who am I? Oh, I'm Penelope Cruz.
I was going to say, who's that cute girl behind
That's me.
Oh, okay. But,
except in every other shot, she was showing major skin. You know what I wanted to be? The mermaid. The mermaid's attack in this movie, viciously.
You know what movie I saw this weekend?
What?
The Outlaw Josie Wales. My favorite movie.
Never
you know how many bad guys were killed in that movie?
How many?
Probably 20, at least.
Probably.
Mowed down 20.
Probably. Go see Avatar. 800 are killed.
Really?
All right. Thank you. Charlie Gasparino.
Can't top that.
27 minutes before the closing bell rings. Food prices, you know it. You've paid for them, hitting record levels. But globally, they're hitting record levels, adding pressure to accelerating inflation and your wallet. But don't worry. My next guest has some ideas that will help you plump up your wallet by capitalizing on soaring food costs. Roger Corrado, the Vice President of Spectrum Commodity Group, up next in a Fox Business exclusive.
It finds you every time you slam the door. I ain't gonna work for Maggie's brother no more.
It's Entitlement Nation Week. Tonight at 5, should states just say no to government handouts? Then at 6, will D.C. really pull the plug on Medicare? And at 7, a look at the future of Social Security.
I own a nice home. I've invested in stocks and bonds. But in today's economy,
should I consider adding gold?
Yes. A diversified portfolio makes sense in any economy. And you're not alone in thinking about diversifying your portfolio with gold. Many people own gold as a potential hedge against inflation and a declining dollar.
I've read that some people buy physical gold.
Goldline clients want more than just a piece of paper. They want peace of mind, which comes from having physical gold they can hold in their hand.
This is an important decision for me. How do I learn more?
Call Goldline today for your free investor's kit. It provides you with important information about gold and shows you how to get started. Our account executives can answer your questions and discuss our products, like the popular European gold coins. If you're concerned about the economy and want to know more about adding gold to your portfolio, call the number on your screen now and find out how you can own gold. Give us a call today.
It's the biggest sport coat sale of the year at Joseph A. Bank. Every sport coat is on sale. Exceptional quality, remarkable prices on the world's best selection of sport coats. All signature sport coats and blazers, $177. Plus executive sport coats, an incredible $97. Only at Joseph A. Bank.
That leaky roof will cost you thousands in repairs, and gushing gutters can destroy your home's foundation. Hi, Phil Swift here for Flex Seal, the easy way to coat, seal, and stop leaks fast. Just a quick shot and Flex Seal instantly fills cracks and holes, stopping the toughest leaks while remaining completely flexible. Flex Seal is actually liquid rubber in a can. Flex Seal is perfect for all your home repairs and covers easily. Now that's a beautiful seal that will last a lifetime. This powerful stream penetrates deep to create a bendable barrier that's totally waterproof. Flex Seal is perfect for roof repair and basement leaks. It's like a handyman in a can. This super strong rubberized coating is unaffected by weather. In extreme heat or cold, Flex Seal keeps its hold. Finally, it's easy to seal AC drip pans and stop leaks or drafts around windows. To show you the amazing sealing power of Flex Seal, we replaced the bottom of this boat with a screen door and covered it in Flex Seal. After a day on the water, not only does it stay afloat, but the inside is completely dry. Flex Seal is perfect for skylights, appliances, RVs, and so much more. Don't call a repairman to fix leaks and water damage. That'll cost you thousands of dollars. You can get Flex Seal right now for just $19.99. Flex Seal's new advanced formula is guaranteed to coat, seal, protect, and stop leaks fast. But wait, to make this the most amazing offer on television, we're going to double your order and send you 2 large cans of Flex Seal. Just pay additional processing. That's twice the sealing power for only $19.99. Here's how to order.
To order Flex Seal, call 1-800-798-3756. That's 1-800-798-3756. Or order online at getflexseal.com. Call or click now.
I'm Sandra Smith with your Fox Business Brief. The bears remain firmly in control on Wall Street as concerns about the Eurozone debt crisis weigh on the markets. Though off-session lows, the blue chips continue to see triple-digit losses. The Dow, as you can see, down 128 points. Still a loss of more than 1% across the board for the major averages. Well, the Justice Department files an antitrust suit blocking H&R Block's purchase of TaxAct Software's parent company 2SS Holdings. The DOJ argues the transaction would eliminate a strong rival between H&R Block and Intuit, the maker of such programs as Quicken and TurboTax. And Toyota is launching its own social network. Toyota Friend is a private network for Toyota owners that works like tweets on Twitter. Messages can be shared with other Toyota friend users and can be made public on Facebook and Twitter. The service will start in Japan next year with the release of Toyota's first battery electric vehicles and plug-in hybrid cars. That's the latest from Fox Business, giving you the power to prosper, and Countdown to the Closing Bell with Liz Claman continues right now.
Mission Impossible. Now that one I want to see. Okay, Nicole Pedalides at the New York Stock Exchange got a high-stakes game of musical chairs involving, what, a pair of corporate giants?
Oh, yeah. This is big news, Liz, for everybody who's followed Microsoft for so many years. Well, Microsoft is now worth about only a third of what it was back in December of 1999. Now, IBM takes over the top spot, surpasses Microsoft in market value, and this is pretty unbelievable to have this market cap moving the way it has, and we really know that Microsoft really hasn't done much. IBM is now at $203 billion, and Microsoft is at $201 billion. Now, both are Dow components, both are lower today. However, for the folks who own Microsoft, well, they're not too happy. For the folks who are on IBM, good luck to you, because certainly this really is unbelievable to have IBM surpass Microsoft in market cap value.
Well, I know, and Microsoft has done so well with Windows 7, yet hasn't managed with the stock price to really get it up there. I mean, sometimes you just can't fathom it, but thank you, Nicole, very much. Let's get back to Paul Dietrich, who's Foxhall Capital Management CEO and Co-Chief Investment Officer. He's back with stock picks. And you know what? I want to actually totally annoy my booth and not go in the order that we had, but go first to your second pick, because your first one is ExxonMobil. Okay, I can figure out why you like ExxonMobil. Let's go to your second one, where you also like this large commodity company, one of the largest. What is it and what's in it for investors?
Well, China Petroleum and Chemicals is one of the great growth companies in my view. People have to remember that 5-6 years ago, China was a net exporter of oil. Now it's the second largest importer of oil in the world after the United States. With cars in China and India, car sales going up 20+% a year, there's going to be enormous demand. There's going to be global demand for oil, and oil prices are going to continue to go up, and these stocks should do well.
You had mentioned earlier, look at emerging markets. You've got 3 emerging marketplaces. Let's whip through them right now. Number 1.
Well, Ambev, which is the largest Pepsi soft drink and distributor in all of Latin America. It's a great company, has a 4.7% dividend. You can't beat that. And a growing market, and it's part of my belief that consumer stocks and services are the play in Asian and emerging markets. The next one is Impresa, which is a utility in Chile, Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, Peru, some of the fastest growing companies in the world. It has a semi-monopoly status in some of them, pays a good dividend. It's hard to find a growing utility in the world. This is a growing utility.
Before we get to the third one, truly amazing, though, that you look at Latin America, which was in a lot of disarray 10 years ago with Argentina crisis. Brazil was a disaster. Look at it today. These countries have emerging very powerful middle classes and, of course, classes that use wireless. So let's get to your next pick.
Yeah, you know, all we hear about with Mexico is the murders on the border, but it grew 8-9% last year, which is unbelievable. I like American Movil. It's owned by the richest man in the world, Carlos Slim. It has more subscribers than AT&T and Verizon combined, and up until now, they've just done voice. Now they're bringing in smartphones and data. We are going to see a huge increase in their revenues and profits.
All of his picks will be on Facebook.com/Liz Claman, and coming up, your number 1 moneymaker, and it is an individual stock name. Very interesting pick. I want you all to stay tuned for that. Closing bell ringing in about 17-18 minutes. President Obama being forced to cut short his trip to Ireland due to that gigantic cloud of volcanic ash from Iceland. We're going to take you live to Dublin for the president's new travel plan. It's all breaking. We'll bring it to you right after this.
No, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover. No, never, no more.
This program is brought to you by Lincoln Financial Group. From lifetime income and insurance to group benefits and retirement plans. Say hello, future, with Lincoln Financial Group.
She's even more beautiful now. Are you me? Quite a while from now. So, how'd I do? You did great. But don't forget about us. We still need financial advice. We have to protect and grow our money. You never know what's around the corner, Grandpa.
Confidently face your future with Lincoln Financial.
Where do Foster Grant light specs shine?
When I'm reading and he's sleeping.
Building Kate's dream house.
When I want lobster, not liver.
Light specs from Foster Grant. Lightweight prescription quality readers with magnification plus focused light. Light specs. Light where you need it.
We're America's Natural Gas, and here's what we did today in homes all across America. We created the electricity that powered the alarm clocks and brewed the coffee. We heated the bath water and gave Kelly a cleaner ride to school. Cooked the cube steaks and steamed the veggies. Entertained Dad and Mom and a neighbor or two. Kept watch on the house when they slept. And tomorrow, we can do even more. We're cleaner, domestic, abundant, and ready now. We're America's Natural Gas, the smarter power today. Learn more at anga.us.
You're single, you're Christian, and you're looking for a meaningful relationship. Find God's match for you at ChristianMingle.com. Sometimes we wait for God to make the next move, when God is saying, it's your time to act. The next move is yours. Join free now at ChristianMingle.com.
I'm back again with U-Glue, the revolutionary adhesive that sticks to just about anything. Fed up with drippy, messy glues damaging your walls with unremovable foam tapes and nails? or toxic chemical fumes? Why use a different glue for everything? Now one product does it all. U-Glue, the instant peel and stick adhesive that combines the convenience of a tape with the holding power of an industrial glue that instantly bonds to any surface. U-Glue carpet to metal, to plastic, to wood, to styrofoam, to drywall, to tile, to brick, to iron. Yet so strong, it won't come apart. It sticks to everything but your fingers. Just peel and press and you've got instant success. Attach a brick to metal and look, U-Glue is waterproof, non-toxic, and safe for kids. U-Glue saves on home projects, secure carpet to hardwood floors, and even more amazingly, secure carpet right to carpeting itself. Works on leather and is great for adding decorative accents. And U-Glue doesn't leave any residue or mess, so it's perfect for any kind of decorating. It's great for crafts, kids projects, and scrapbooking. U-Glue makes it easy to watch a show on the go, but incredibly, you can remove it from a sheet of paper with no damage. Think U-Glue can withstand this powerful pressure washer? With ease! And if you think that's amazing, because U-Glue is so strong and waterproof, it's strong enough to pull this water skier right out into the lake. Amazing! Call now and we'll give you this 75-piece U-Glue kit for just $10. But wait, call right now and we'll double your order. That's 150 pieces for just $10. And we'll include 2 U-Glue power patches, strong enough for a quick workout. U-Glue, 150 pieces for only $10. Call or go online now.
To order U-Glue, have your credit card ready and call 1-800-619-1827. That's 1-800-619-1827. Don't delay. Order now.
That monster ash cloud from an Icelandic volcano. I know, again, yeah, forcing President Obama to cut short his visit to Ireland. Next stop will be London, and all under the backdrop of that European debt crisis. Rich Edson, live in Dublin. Rich, what's the plan?
Well, Liz, he's leaving a few hours early. He will go to London tonight, and then he's off meeting with the London and the British government tomorrow. Here, it was a message of optimism to the Irish people on a continent, at least in Europe, that is growing at least pessimistic when it comes to the debt crisis, a debt downgrade in Greece, an outlook downgrade in Italy, 14.5% unemployment here in Ireland, a housing market that continues to sink. And they have that bailout package with a 5.8% interest rate that they want to see reduced. However, the president says here in Ireland there are signs of improvement. Take a listen.
As trying as these times are, I know our future is still as big and as bright as our children expect it to be. I know that because I know it is precisely in times like these, in times of great challenge, in times of great change, when we remember who we truly are.
And before that speech on College Green, the president had an opportunity to visit his ancestral home, Moneygall, which is a town of about 300 folks here in Ireland. He enjoyed a pint at a local pub. And also a little bit of and you talk about travel plans, Liz, we talked about that ash cloud that's forcing the president to change his plans. A limo, not carrying the president, though part of the entourage with staff, got stuck leaving the embassy here on the driveway. So you can plan things all you want, but it doesn't always work out. Back to you.
So watch, there's the limo. Ah, it got stuck on the hump, but he wasn't in it, so you can't say he was overweight. Of course, he's very thin. But there you go. The thing just simply got stuck on that hump because the bottom... See, now that's happened to me in Los Angeles. It's very embarrassing. What do you do? Get up, you know, the Secret Service start bouncing it up and down. Oh my God. So they're deciding, do we get out? Do we get out? Okay, they get out. Wait, I want to see what happens. Okay, that was the end of the video. Okay, Rich, thank you very much. Rich Edson. The global food price index up 36% from last year. And we have an expert who says we're headed for a short-term global commodities correction, meaning there would be a pullback. But he's got some big ideas to make you money. Joining us now in a Fox Business exclusive is Roger Corrado, the vice president of Spectron Commodity Group. So here's why I like the story, because we're spending so much money on food. We need to plump up our wallets with good investments. Right. Where do you begin?
Sort of a bit of a hedge against these higher food prices. Well, you look basically, you know, commodities in general caught in this whole bubble. Recent surge in the U.S. dollar, the crude coming off a bit. You know, so you look at anybody who's trading, mostly fund-wise, has got a basket of commodities. So we're feeling the impact all, you know, in the food commodities such as corn, soybeans, wheat, coffee, sugar, cocoa, OJ. You're seeing these come off a bit.
Many of these were hitting 30-year highs, and suddenly it scared investors who thought, oh, I want to get in there. You say short-term correction. By how much more?
It's, you know, we'll talk maybe specific commodity. You look at something like coffee. You know, you say, okay, coffee rallied up to, I believe, a 34-year high, a little over $3 a pound, and now it's back to the 255, 260 area. 250 is a critical support. So you're looking, you know, I mean, it's probably corrected itself 23%. Would I be looking to invest in that? Probably at some time I'm going to say, you know, get back into coffee. Cocoa's the same. A lot of political issues in the cocoa market, obviously. Ivory Coast is, you know, 25% of the world's supply comes out of the Ivory Coast. You had the political agenda. Now your exports are going to start taking off again, and you're going to see cocoa slide down, obviously.
And there's some disease hitting cocoa.
The pod disease,
the
bacterial, the frozen pod disease.
Frozen pod disease. I want a movie entitled Frozen Pod
Kind of spread by human contact or, you know, the elements, wind or any kind of storm.
What about corn? Let's get to that, because you've got a bifurcated story here. People are eating more corn, but there is the ethanol issue.
Well, corn obviously is a feeder, you know, so you know, look at China, for instance, and say people are eating more meat in China. So, you know, your cattle is fed on wheat and corn. So there's that issue with corn. Right. The ethanol issue, obviously, 25% of domestic corn now is used for ethanol. The government, you know, spends about $6 billion a year in subsidizing that ethanol market. So corn has to be, you know, turned in.
Governor Pawlenty is saying take out the subsidies.
Well, you know, that's a debate. I mean, you look at that and you say...
Do you agree with that, though?
Honestly, I do agree with that. I mean, you know, the subsidies isn't... You're actually hitting the poor, you know, thinking food-wise as trying to pertain to something energy-wise, you know. So why should, you know, the poor people who are troubling to put food on their tables, you know, you're going to hit them more by these higher food prices.
We have seen lots of food companies start to hike their prices. What are your plays for people's portfolios?
Well, individually, you know, I'm a commodity trader by day, but, you know, you look at something like, you know, you look at individual stocks like Kraft or even, you know, Heinz, Hershey. You look at McDonald's, as your guest Paul Dietrich, I was talking in the back with him, you know, we discussed that also. You look at ETFs, exchange-traded funds. You look at some of the indexes, the Goldman Sachs Commodity Index, which is a basket basically of 24 indexes, covers everything. There's also Goldman Sachs has a ag index. Mm-hmm. You know, Deutsche Bank has these an index also. So you look at that, an individual, you know why? Because for the individual investor, buying into the index is almost like buying an individual stock. It's a little simpler to do.
Well, and you can get a basket, as you say. For example, Moo is the agricultural one. It's down today by more than 1%, I believe. But, you know, you look at all of these, you say there is a way to play this. If you believe that food prices will continue to go up, I mean, one last question quickly. Do you get a sense that a lot of these hedge funds are going to start buying actual farmland?
Not, you know, they do that. I mean, you'll hear more and more about that, but I don't know that they could really, you know, how much farmland is available, first of all, for so many traders that are out there trading these markets.
Right. With their pristine hands and no calluses.
They'll buy the farmland, but they won't actually be in the field.
These guys are not going on the back 40, trust me. Yeah, okay. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks,
Roger Carrata, Vice President at Spectron Commodity Group. Dow is down 127 points. The closing bell in just 7 minutes. Stay tuned. Paul is back after the break. His #1 moneymaker. It is an individual stock. Need you to stay tuned for this because it may make you some money here. Check us out. All the interviews that we've done today and what we've done in the past. Facebook.com/Liz Claman. It's easy.
Monday. So good to me. Monday morning, it was all.
Don't you just hate it when stray animals make a mess of your yard? You don't want to hurt them, but you still don't want them around. What you need is the Bell & Howell solar-powered animal repeller. It uses a high-pitched sound to rid your yard of unwanted pests, such as rabbits, mice, deer, raccoons, skunks, even stray cats and dogs. Humans can't hear it, but the sound drives pests like squirrels away and keeps them away for good.
I wish I could do something about my neighbor's dog. It's always digging up my garden.
Well, now you can. The solar-powered animal repeller's high-frequency sound is unpleasant to animals. Once they come within range, the built-in infrared motion detector activates it, both in daylight and even at night, making it emit a powerful ultrasonic sound that sends them scurrying for safety. It easily mounts to any surface, but it comes with its own mounting stake, so you can place it anywhere. And it works from up to 30 feet away. The durable green housing lets it blend in with its surroundings. It's weatherproof, and since it's solar-powered, it never needs batteries.
Raccoons kept getting in my garbage. They're aggressive and they could have rabies. But ever since I got the solar-powered animal repeller, not one can is tipped over. They just stay away.
Now there's no need for cruel traps or dangerous toxic poisons to keep pests away. Best of all, it's humane and environmentally safe. Similar repellers are sold elsewhere for $60 or more. But now, through this exclusive TV-only offer, the solar-powered animal repeller is yours for only $29.95. But there's more. When you call, be sure to ask how you can get even more savings on each additional solar-powered repeller that you purchase. Get the Bell & Howell solar-powered animal repeller today and keep unwanted pests out of your yard for good. Order now.
To order your animal repeller, call 1-800-797-2900 or send $29.95 plus shipping and handling to Animal Repeller, P.O. Box 3012, Wallingford, Connecticut. But for quicker service, call 1-800-797-2900.
Attention Medicare and insurance beneficiaries. Do health issues limit your mobility? Is it difficult to get to the bathroom on your own? Do you feel like a bother to others due to your lack of mobility? Have you fallen in the past 12 months? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you may qualify for a new power chair at little to no cost to you.
Hi, I'm Doug Harrison. If you're living with limited mobility, call the scooter store today. We're experts at getting you the power chair or scooter you need. I promise no other company will work harder to make you mobile or do more to ensure your total satisfaction, because making you mobile is our mission. We'll work with your doctor, Medicare, and your private insurance, so don't wait any longer. Call the scooter store today.
Call for your free mobility consultation and free lighted magnifier right now.
Call 1-800-919-6122 and receive this free lighted magnifier.
So at our company, we pay about the same, even though I'm a great driver and he's not so much.
Well, for a driver like you, I would recommend our new Snapshot discount. This little baby keeps track of your great driving habits so you can save money.
Amazing.
It's like an extra bonus savings.
He's my ride home.
How much can the Snapshot discount save you? Call or click today.
Sandals Royal Bahamian. Experience the exotic adventure of an offshore island and the elegant sophistication of a world-class resort, all on the vacation of your dreams. Now, for a limited time, save up to 65%. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
We're finishing up with Paul Dietrich of Foxhall, your #1 moneymaker.
It's Spanish Mountain Gold. It's a Canadian stock, a junior gold stock. It's arguably some of the cheapest gold in the world.
Cheap gold, we like that.
You can buy gold, the 4 million ounces that they have, for basically half the price of the current price of gold. It's a hedged gold play, and it's for long-term investors, but I think once the markets efficiently price it, it will go up.
Spanish Mountain Gold is a Canadian stock. Good to see you, Paul.
Thank you, Liz.
Tell the gang in your Connecticut offices and everywhere else we said hi.
Hello.
Okay, and so do the Bulls and Bears team as we get ready for that. I'll send it to Nicole Pedalides to take us to the closing bell.
Hey, Liz, good afternoon, everybody. Well, you can see we're finishing the day here down 122 points on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It was a tough day here on Wall Street. 3 straight weekly losses. We're kicking off a new week with lots of down arrows. Why? Well, we got some weak data from China, and traders certainly noting that manufacturing data weighing on the overall sentiment here on Wall Street. So some of your big Dow losers were Caterpillar and DuPont, Alcoa, United Technologies. Also, clearly, we continue to worry about Europe's European sovereign debt. Italy gets downgraded on the heels of Friday when we heard all about Greece, right? So these are your S&P 500 biggest losers. IBM beats out Microsoft, right? First time in over 10 years in market cap value. So a lot of folks were happy about that if you were an IBM holder. We had hot topics where Sony came out with some numbers, tough numbers at that. LinkedIn, that one was selling off, and we did have some green. There was some green. Right? Lululemon, Newmont Mining.
Nicole, let's talk about the seesaw quality of today and focus on just one stock, and that stock would be Apple. It looked like the bottom fell out from underneath Apple, and then it kind of recovered. I think people were looking at maybe now it's a bargain.
You know, you make a great point. Early morning, if you have an intraday chart ready, it'd be neat to take a look, because in the early morning when we opened and we began to sell off, everybody knew we were expecting a sell-off, and it traded down. The low today was 329 and change, and then people started to pick it up. There was an explosion at a manufacturing plant in China. That's one of their biggest people that they work with that other company, and so people did have a knee-jerk reaction. But when I looked up, I have to tell you, over 90% of the analysts have a buy rating on it, and many of them have $450 targets. And actually, Tigonderoga, I don't even know which one it is, but Ben Wellis knew this one well. But he said $612 is their price target. So there are some folks out on Wall Street who are still really hot on this one. Piper Jaffray, $554 price target. So there are some folks here who are keeping those price targets in mind, and when they see a dip, they go ahead and they buy Apple.
Oh boy, they sure did. It's an opportunity to get in for some people. Nicole, thank you very much.
Thanks, Nicole.
Well, let's get to Lori Rothman at the Data Wizard. Lori, I bet you can find Apple somewhere in there.
I will do my best, although it is a sea of red, Dave and Liz. I think this just sums up the whole session for you. The only share closing higher here is McDonald's, up 16 cents. Remember, last week we were debating on whether Ronald McDonald should be fired or not. There you go, up about 16 cents, which was impressive in this session. But let's take a look at the Dow, the intraday.
likes. But I would say in terms of the inflation, we know that that's there. I think it's here to stay. It's why the retailers are a tough buy for me. I would much rather be in the commodity space. But I think you also need to talk about wage increases. We're talking about inflation in China. Wage inflation is going to start coming through and feeding through into the Walmart. So I would expect a Walmart to get squeezed more than the high end here.
Patty Edwards, I want to go to you as our retail maven here on this panel. And you said something interesting on the conference call that I don't think many of our viewers realize, and that is the profile of the Costco shopper. I think most people think about discount warehouse stores, and they think about people who might be cost pressured. They might be feeling the pinch at the gas pump. You say not necessarily.
No, actually, the Costco shopper is actually the Nordstrom shopper. You're looking at somebody who's making $85,000 to $100,000 a year, in a lot of cases owning their own small business. So you're looking at someone who is going to perhaps be a little bit pressured because of the stock market, not buying as many of those gotta-have-it items on the treasure hunt side of things. And what is going to be the problem for Costco is going to be the fact that they will hold prices down even as their input costs go up, as long as they can, to beat out the competition. It's going to put pressure on margins at least for the next quarter, and I think that's one of the reasons you need to take a look and step back away from Costco at this point.
All right, let's turn our attention now to technology, and obviously we're watching Cisco and AMAT, Applied Materials, very closely, pointing to a second-half slowdown on a cautious outlook. Brian Kelly, I want to go to you, because if you take a look at the 10Q that so many people are wrangling over for Cisco Systems, it seems pretty consistent. And I'm not one to go out and defend Cisco at all, Cisco at 1617, which looks like a new 52-week high to me. But essentially, it sounds basically the same as what they said on their most recent conference call, relatively flat quarter-on-quarter revenue growth.
Right, and that's what I took away from it, is exactly relatively flat revenue growth, which is stuff that we already knew. I think the AMAT news may be a bit of a surprise, but in that space, where Cisco is suffering is on that new technology. We all know about them push to the cloud, and that's where Cisco's suffering. So I would rather move down the ladder into some of the OEMs, look at something like an Emulex, a name that I've liked for a long time, but they make those new products, or even a Juniper. Take a look at something like that. That's where I want to be. If you're going to have this flat revenue, you want to be in the places that are hot and that are growing.
JJ Kinahan, there are a lot of value-type people out there who might look at Cisco, at 1617 and say, you know what, there's a bargain here. This is simply too low. Are you seeing anybody in the options pit taking flyers on Cisco, i.e. buying calls?
We saw a big one actually yesterday in Cisco. We saw a big 16 call buyer in the June strike and some in the July strike. But what I think is interesting is actually Cisco at this point, in my opinion, is kind of a bet on the fact that John Chambers can kind of lead the company back, so to speak. There's been so much negative press about him as the CEO, and really we see the stock continuing to suffer, I believe, because of it. So at this point, I really believe if you were going to invest in Cisco, what you're saying is I do believe that this man who has led the company so well for years until the last couple of years can help him turn things around, and as Beek says, discover some new technologies, something that's going to get people excited. There's just zero excitement around that name.
Patty, in terms of what we can glean from Applied Materials results, the forecast came in below for the fiscal third quarter, and essentially they said it was because of customer delays. Their customers obviously being chip makers. So are you getting concerned at all about some of the PC trade, some of the chip makers that have sort of rallied recently but have had some trouble in most recent sessions?
I think you look at the number, or the thoughts on Apple, where it's looking like they're not going to have as many things out there. PCs aren't being bought. You have to start getting concerned about the chips. Certainly we have had a huge run up in Intel. It's sold off. I'm in Qualcomm. I think that's a little bit of a different story because there's some other things going on there. But I think that if you are heavy in chips, you're probably playing the greater fool theory at this point.
All right, let's get an AIG check here, because especially after the Treasury and AIG sold 300 million shares at $29 a share in the secondary offering, the shares today are trading down 4.5% below the offering. Steve Cortez, can you see value here in AIG?
You know, Melissa, I cannot. The price action is very poor, and particularly when you pull back and take a really macro view, let's remember that at these split-adjusted levels, this is a stock that traded 10 years ago well over $1,000 based on this split presently. The recent price action of the last several days is also poor, so to me, this is not a value play. If you want to be involved in financials, I think GS and MS, which are names that I have owned, which have not worked, but I think those are the value plays.
All right, let's move on and hit some unusual activity here. And JJ, you've been noticing some